Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Comic Book Radio. I'm your host, Peter Cimetti. This is episode 51, and my guest tonight, hopefully, is KELSEY Shannon. Anybody seen KELSEY? Looking out. He's like a cryptid, this guy. He's like a cryptid. Do we have actual documented proof? I've seen pictures. I've talked to him, video. Anyone actually have documented proof that KELSEY truly exists? Because he's not here yet. Not here yet. So we have a bunch of things to talk about anyway. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see. Linkovich Chomovsky is shouting for KELSEY. So is Ruby Jade. Is KELSEY gonna pull a mail-in? We'll see. Fritzy, what's up? Says, hey Pete, have you seen Glenn Greenwald's report entitled "How the CIA Covertly Took Hollywood"? It's on YouTube. No, I haven't, but I probably know everything that he's discussing in that. I mean, that's like a... What is that? A not-so-secret secret? One of those, like, not-so-well-kept secrets. But for a lot of people, of course, they don't go looking. But if you go looking, it's all there. It's been there for quite some time. But yeah, I'll give it a look. I'm curious to see if there's anything new or different on that. How old is that? Do you know, Fritzy? When did that come out? Metatron, what's up with the timey Tim? Yeah, he's keeping the time. He's keeping the time. We'll see if KELSEY shows up. Which, ironically, the whole point of tonight's show is artist intelligence, one AI, versus artificial intelligence, the other AI. So far, artificial intelligence is winning. Norin Rat, what's up, Norin Rat? How's it going? Thank you for joining us tonight. We got Dear Man's YouTube channel. Hey, how's it going? Citizen Ronan, hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us tonight. Randy Scribner in the house as well. What's up, Randy? Nicole says, KELSEY appears and I follow, which means that he might not, and then we might lose you. And then that's 2 disappearances. KELSEY, responsible for the disappearance of Nicole J. Brian, what's up, Brian? Hope you're doing well. Old Dirty Fatty says, my dad used to give me this speech after, I'm sorry, Old Dirty. Manny Cornejo, what's up, Manny? Hope you're doing well. I agree. I don't know, Mike. Will KELSEY pull a mail-in? And then I got to reschedule, and then I got to do all that, and then, again? Really? People are going to start to think that I'm booking guests just to do these shows. And I can assure you I'm not. Good grief. Ronan's Review, what's up? Hail Cryptid. Yeah, King Cryptid. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Mighty Joe, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Thank you, Mighty Joe, for stopping by. See, everybody knows. And it was a great conversation once we had that rescheduled with John Malin. That was last week. Last Sunday. Today's Saturday, of course. Space Monkey, what's up? Yeah, KELSquatch 2023. Have we seen him? Anybody got like a box of Krispy Kremes? I hear the KELSquatch enjoys those. Might lure him out of his hiding. Norin Rad, it's deja vu indeed. It's deja vu. It was last Friday, right? Last Friday was the John Malin incident, which then got rectified on Sunday. And this Saturday, today, KELSEY Shannon disappeared. Wayne, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much. KL, yeah, we're gonna run out of milk cartons. Yeah. Brian says, I spotted him at the edge of the wood in the PNW once, but it might have been a Bigfoot. Could have been. Captain Infinity, hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us tonight. Nicole says, has KELSEY repented and joined the mail-in movement? Would the mail-in movement be revolving around not showing up or forgetting to show up on a channel? Past that, I have no idea what that means. Fritzy says it just came out 4 days ago. I'll give that a look. I'm curious to see if there's anything new on that maybe I'm not aware of. Psycho Pirate says retcon Doomsday Clock and restore the Snyderverse. Do people still care about that? Really? Sure, whatever. If it brings you happiness, Psycho Pirate, have at it. Fritzy says it's about modern Hollywood. Yeah. I'll give it a look. Cole says, good to see you, brother. Good to see you too, Cole. Comics Exposed says, wait, what? Who let Kelsey on here? I'd be happy to let him on here if he was here. But so far he is not. Captain Infinity says, post Blade Runner, I don't care if anyone is human as long as they do their job. It's getting that way, isn't it? It's getting that way. Jeto Jaga, hail, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Derail Gaming says Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern will be a great time to reschedule. I don't think so. McGregorable. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining tonight. Creative Face says he's probably having internet problems or sleeping. Sure, I could see that happening. Creative Faye, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Leo says, hi everyone. Hey, Leo, hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining tonight and saying hello. Buddha Bear, same with you. Hey, hope you're doing good. Thanks for stopping by. Bob Gable says, did Kelsey ghost you? Perhaps. Let's see here. Ara, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining. Let's see. Yes, I do. Chris says, Kelsey, I conjure thee, come to this live stream. No, it didn't work. D. Barry says, say his name 3 times in the mirror. Do I have a mirror around here? I don't. I guess I'll just go Kelsey Shannon. Kelsey Shannon. Kelsey Shannon. Nothing. Okay. Bob says he's always late or doesn't show up. I want to hire Kelsey too. Is he not going to show up when I hire him to do a back cover for King Cryptid? Or perhaps one day I would have loved to have him do a full issue. Come on, Kelsey. Come on. Leg Kick, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Thank you for stopping by and saying hello. Brian says tagged him in an X. They're posts now, right? Post. For the show, maybe he will see the tweet. Hopefully. I've sent him DMs. He's been tagged. Nothing. Nada. Zilch. Zippo. Bob says, Beetlejuice. That'd be a fun show to have Beetlejuice on for an hour. Manny says, does anyone else now know any incantations to summon him? Let's see. Lizello says, I guess I'm not the only one that's late. Linkovich says, classic Kelsey. Alright, so the thing I have to show you guys, of course, is the King Cryptid campaign. Now, this is for 5 to 9, obviously. Those are the issues that are being funded right now. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. We're at 469 total backers, so 31 away from 500. At 500, we unlock another bonus for physical perk backers, which would be a signed 6x9 print. It's one of 18 signed 6x9 prints, so everyone's going to get something different for the most part. You know, of course, there's going to be a couple duplicates running around because there's 18, and there'll be like 500 of you. 21,093 raised. That's thank you guys. That's wonderful. This is now the 34th day of the campaign, something like that. It started July 8th. There's advertising perks available, so you can get a full page advertising perk for King Cryptid 5 to 9. Full pager, $25. Advertise your comic, your YouTube, your store, your convention, your website. You know, if you're an artist, if you're a writer, if you're whatever. You don't have to be comic related. But the ad does have to be all ages appropriate. So no cursing, no nudity, that kind of a thing. no ridiculous, hate mongering or something dumb. But I don't have to worry about that. None of you guys ever send anything like that. You guys are always sending great ads, really interesting stuff. Usually about your books and sometimes about your YouTube channel or your website. Inside back covers are $50. Inside front cover, $75. Now, there's not that many left of those. Those are premium spots. There's no back cover available for ad purchase because the back cover is another cover. So 2 covers on each King Cryptid issue. But the inside front cover, there's 3 left. Inside back cover, there's 2 left. And there's a bunch of, it varies from issue to issue, but there's a bunch of spots still left for the full page ad if you guys do want to pick that up. Usually they're going to go for about a month. They'll probably sell out within that point of time, but then there's maybe 2 or 3 or 4, a couple scragglers left, about maybe, a little bit later than that. But most of the ads get scooped up within the first month of being available. So these are available now. They've only been available for a couple of days. The ad is due February 2024 because we're going to go to print ideally around April. And then fulfillment starts. But you can get your ad in earlier to me if you want. But keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Make sure to read that stuff. There's the information on how to format the ad. Once you purchase the ad, you download a link. It comes with a template along with other things that are hopefully helpful. Useful info for the ad. And other than that, we got all kinds of things on the campaign. Of course, this is on Indiegogo, but the advertising perks are not on Indiegogo. The advertising perks are just on the Alterna site. But we have everything else on Indiegogo as well. You guys can check out everything there. And the bonuses that are unlocked so far, you get the Behemoth trading card. If you were a day 1 or 2 backer on July 8th or 9th, you will get the Victor Lugo ID badge. And then there's a random trading card. So 1 out of 18, you'll get one of those. Now, this other thing here. If we get to 27,544 within the first 60 days of the campaign, so by September 8th, September 9th, something like that. If we get to 27,544, so we're about 6,500 away, a little less, then we'll unlock the clear logo sticker for all physical perk backers as well. The reason for that number is 27,543 was what we raised last year for King Cryptid 1 to 4 in the first 60 days. That was a 60-day campaign initially, just on Indiegogo. So if we raise $1 more, $1, then we'll get this to you guys. Clear logo sticker, 4.5 by 2 inches. And like it says, the background of it's clear. So you can stick it on whatever, you just see the logo. And that'll be a special for the first 60 days. If we don't reach that in the first 60 days, this will go back up to being a 30K unlockable. So once we reach 30K, this will be unlocked. This one as well. The total campaign last year was $41,472. If we raise $1 more, so $41,473. This 11 by 17 poster here by Keir Covington, who also is the illustrator for issue 4 and 9. This will go out to you guys as well that were physical perk backers. But we got some time to get there. This campaign's going to be up for a bit. And then again, additional stretch goal bonuses. So like I said, the 500 backers, we're getting super close to that one. That's probably going to be the next one that gets unlocked. And then once we unlock the 500 backer bonus, just 31 backers away. Once we unlock that, we're very close at that point, I imagine. We'll be very close to getting towards that 27, what is that, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? What is that? 27,544. So it's all coming together. All right, so that's all I want to talk about with this campaign. KELSEY is still AWOL. He's still AWOL. I'm looking at the DMs and they're quiet. Oh, so quiet. Let's see here. I do have campaigns to fulfill. I'm up to, let's see. Yesterday, I packed 50 perks around there. A little bit less. I'm trying to make myself look better than I am. It was probably more like 47. and they got delivered today to the post office. Now the post office is going to then deliver them to you. Maybe that's why, Pete Cimetti sounds like Pizza Medi, but hey, I'm the pizza man because I deliver. But I'm packing this weekend. My goal is by Monday, 100 packages. I got a lot of stuff to pack. So far, I've packed about 25 to 30 today, and I want to get after the show, whether we end early or end on time, I want to get another 10 to 20 pack tonight. It's a lot of sorting with the campaigns. But so then today I could hit like 50. And then tomorrow if I hit 50, I'm on my goal for 100 for Monday. And then my goal for everything with this campaign fulfillment, among a bunch of the other back orders that are there right now on the site, is by Friday the 18th. Friday the 18th to be completely done and shipped out with that stuff, and then all set. So you guys are gonna, many of you already have started getting these perks because over 300 of them are shipped out, but a bunch more of you will be getting them very soon. So thank you, appreciate your patience. But if we don't do this show tonight, I'll end early. I'll give it a we'll wind up timey again. Let's do that. I'm on a shorter leash tonight. I can't do 45 minutes like I did with the mail-in show last Friday. So I'm going to do 10. 10 minutes on the clock. 10 minutes on the clock, which will give us about a half hour. All right. So when we hear... There he is. When we hear this guy ring, that'll be that. If Kelsey shows up, great. We'll do the show. If he doesn't show up and timey rings, it is what it is. Appreciate you all being here, though. Unlike a certain someone. Appreciate you guys being here. All right, so let's see. What is on your mind? What is on your mind tonight? What is on your mind? I'm trying to see what's what. Let's see here. I'm looking through, scrolling through. Look at that, Malin's going down in history for last Friday. Mighty Joe says, speaking of KC back cover art, any update on Russ Leach? Oh, well, Russ will probably be on something for next year. Ideally, I'd love to get him on an issue for next year, and we'll see how that goes. No matter what, I absolutely want to get him on a back cover for next year. And then maybe if everything doesn't really work out for a single issue for next year, get him on the campaign in 2025 for a full issue. But I have to get him on a back cover for next year. So nothing for this campaign. This campaign's already set. But I do have a couple of spots that I could fill for next year. I got 2 interior artist spots and 3 back cover spots. One of which I was hoping to give to Kelsey. I've been trying to get Dale Keown too to get in touch with him to do a t-shirt design for King Cryptid, but no dice there. My next go-to would have been Kelsey. And Kelsey has disappeared. So probably not Kelsey either. Why? Well, we got a lot of things planned on this campaign, and there's already some things planned out for next year too. Especially because next year, okay, so we got the number 10 Killer King 64 page king sized issue for next year. That's the first big king sized issue, number 10. Got to make it special. And then we got 11, 12, and 13. So we're gonna have one of those issues. We're gonna have the Behemoth comes back, bringing back Christian Rossi for that issue. We're gonna have a Santa Claus holiday issue. And then I'm gonna also pick up on the storyline with Alex Jovich. So I'm trying to see. It might be because Keir Covington should be drawing number 10, but I'm trying to see for for the Santa Claus issue who I'm gonna get to do that. And heck, I might even do 14. I might even do 5 issues for next year too. But that all depends on what we hit this year, because I was hoping that if we could hit like 50,000 this year, and again, we have time. If we could hit 50,000 this year, I'll do 10 to 14. So we'll have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 5 issues. If we don't hit 50,000 this year, I'm going to have to push number 14 to 2025. But we'll see. We'll see. There's a couple of things in terms of the artists, because I'd love to get Nick Hunter back doing something too. I love working with Nick Hunter, man. But Nick is getting 5 and 7 this year, so he's got his work cut out already for him. You know, he did issue 2, so I kind of, I'm kind of taxing him extra this year in terms of the workload. So we'll see. We'll see. If we don't get Nick Hunter for next year and he gets a year off, it is what it is. But I'm hoping I could get... I got 3 different artists I'm talking to about doing that Christmas Santa Claus holiday issue. And then if we get to do 14, that one's going to be a lot of fun. And ideally, I would like to get Nick Hunter on that issue. I don't even want to talk about that yet. It's a cool character who makes, I guess you could say, his introduction. His introduction takes place in issue 7, which is why I would like to have Nick Hunter on issue 14, because to keep that consistency, But we'll talk about that when the time comes. And the reason I don't want to talk about it just yet is because it might get pushed to 2025. If we're able to hit that 50,000 this year, then I'll talk about it, because then we'll put out issue 14 for next year's campaign. So let's see here. Yeah. Confirmed twice. So yeah, I'm not seeing nothing. I hope he's okay. At the very least, I know we joke and everything, but I do hope Kelsey's okay. Because God forbid, you never know. So I do hope he's okay. And once I find out that he's okay, then I'll be very upset. I'll just be like, hey, you want to reschedule? You so-and-so? You silly so-and-so? That's what I'll probably say. Let's see here. Creative says, do you think you'll ever open submissions again? Probably not. I remember you saying you had issues with submissions, so I understand if not. Yeah, probably not. I'd say it's like 99% not happening. A lot. There's just too many things. Too many things that are happening. I'm not seeing a good situation with that. And I called this a couple years ago too, because the advent of crowdfunding, which is wonderful, creators that are entrepreneurial and that want to do the work and put in the time and put in the effort and do what they got to do, they're going to find a way to get their stuff out there, and they're going to represent themselves, their brand, their book. They're going to be vocal about it. They're going to be enthusiastic about promoting it. And those are exactly the kind of people that I want to publish. But those people are going to just go and do a crowdfunder, because I didn't need somebody else to validate or publish me. I did my own thing and created Alterna. So I don't expect people, I'm not going to sit here and tell people, you need me, you can't succeed without someone like me. It's bullshit, you don't. But that's why also I was a creator first and foremost. So I get to go back to creating. At the end of the day, there's so many different things that I'm still not able to do because I'm a publisher still. I'm not saying that's good, bad, or I wish I could or whatever. It's just that's the reality of it. So if the reality of the situation changes in however that may be, because things always change. That's the only thing that's ever true. Then I have, I guess you could say, like contingency plans, more or less. I get to go and do the things that I've been not doing. And there's a bunch of that. More art commissions, maybe edit, letter other people's books, all that kind of stuff. So there's all kinds of things that can happen. And then Alterna will always exist because Alterna is mine. So King Cryptid would always be under Alterna. Now, I don't want to talk about this as if it's, Alterna is disbanding or going down or, everything is going bad or whatever. I'm talking about the realities of publishing. So I'm being very transparent right now. Some people might say it's too transparent. But I want to be honest and open with you guys in terms of how this stuff works. So that's what I see in terms of, there's a lot of people out there that are motivated and talented, and they're finding their own way. They're doing their own thing, which is great. I love that, if anything. I love seeing that. It's inspiring. It's motivating for me personally. But in terms of a publisher and picking stuff up, and there's always going to be a need for a publisher doing what I did 10 to 15 years ago, which was mostly taking on a lot of people who, even though they were talented in their own right, they were all still finding their way. So if someone is still trying to find their way, Alterna isn't necessarily the right publisher anymore. I don't have the time to handhold someone who's completely new to everything and all of that. I wanted someone who's ready to hit the ground running. But that person, like I said, who's ready to do that is going to find their own path. So that's it. That's it. Timey has rung. Jake says both of my orders got shipped yesterday. Really looking forward to reading these. I've never read anything from Alterna, but seeing your interviews and on other streams. I appreciate that. And says really looking forward to both my orders getting here next week. Fantastic, Jake. Thank you so much. Let's see. Fearsome says, is there a book you're excited about that's coming to Alterna? My book. King Cryptid 5 to 9. Super excited about that. As far as the other books go, I'm excited about all of them. I really want to see where Blood Realm is headed. Rob's always kind of he's got a stacked deck. Rob Geronimo on Blood Realm. He's always got a bunch of aces up his sleeve. And just when I think I know what he's doing, he does something even cooler and more unexpected. So Blood Realm, I would highly recommend getting on that if you haven't already. Wolf Batsy's always fun. That title's relatively self-explanatory, but that's always a really fun series too. Horace H. Hoover, I don't know where Fabrizio's going with that, but it's entertaining as hell. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. We got Red Koi as well with Tyler Wentland doing the fantasy adventure thing. We got Wes Loker doing Unit 44. And since he started with the episodic style, I think it's starting to hit its stride. I really think by issue 10 or so with Unit 44, it's going to really hit its stride. And I think if you guys haven't jumped on yet with that, it's like a sci-fi humor book, but Wes really thinks it's like a funny book. It's lighthearted. It's not like it's an all-out, I don't view it anyway as an all-out comedy. But then again, I guess maybe my idea of comedy is a bit different. He's got good wordplay, good interaction, good characters. He's got a mix of horror, fantasy, sci-fi throughout with a lighthearted tone about those bumbling Area 51 agents. And then other than that, it came out on a Wednesday, and that's going to be on issue 21 soon. I'm planning that issue out. So I'm focused on all the titles we have here, but I'd be lying if I said the one I'm most excited for wasn't my own. So I'm not going to lie to you guys with that. I'm excited to get 5 to 9 of King Cryptid out there. So that's definitely the one. Let's see here. Jake says, I already got that. Brian says, how are the new hat patches coming along? They should be here any day now, Brian. Any day now. And we're going into overtime, too. But I want to get to answering you guys. Some of you guys have questions, which I want to get to. The new hat patches, King Cryptid logo, and also the Necro, New England Cryptid Organization, that is coming soon. So they should be here sometime this week. Let's see here. See, Rick says Shelby would do a dope King Cryptid. Shelby Robertson, is that his name? Right, Shelby? He's a good artist. Everyone's so busy, though. If he's available, maybe I'll hit him up. Dan Dahl is great too. Maybe hit up Dan Dahl for a back cover. We'll see. Yeah. I mean, I got a direct, connection to Dale. Several different ones, and Mandy's even tried, but I think Dale's just really busy and very polite and doesn't want to actually say no thanks. Which I totally get. So yeah, but it'd be cool one day. It'd be cool one day to get Dale involved on something. That'd be nice. I think he could do a kick-ass King Cryptid. You know, he's got kind of the same action-packed dynamics of Pitt. And I think once Dale started drawing him, he'd be like, "Oh, it's like coming home again." Let's see here. All right, I think that's gonna be it. That's gonna be it. We're gonna end up. Let's see. We're gonna end up leaving it off and saying goodbye. That's gonna be about it. All right, 32 minutes. 32 minutes. Yeah, Kelsey is supposed to be here. I don't know. I don't know where Kelsey is. He's not responding to DMs, and I don't see anything in terms of him responding to a tweet about it either. So we're going to have to say goodbye. I tell you. Yeah, he did. He pulled a mail-in. He pulled a mail-in. Question is, will he pull a mail-in then and reschedule with me and show up like a pro? Because that was a good conversation with Malin 2 days after. Let's see. My homie says, I'll yell at Kelsey tomorrow on Super Fun Sunday stream for you. Yeah, you better. You better. I'm going to start just going packing up. Yeah, it happened again. It happened again. You know, these things are live. It happens. And the more I do shows, the more I book people for guests, the more this will happen every now and then. So if you're here for Kelsey, I'm sorry. I don't think he's showing up. I don't think he's showing up. If you're here for me, thank you. Thank you very much. But tomorrow night, I've got Michael Bancroft on. And he's been like quadruple confirmed. So Bancroft better show up. I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked. That guy is usually actually a little early. So Michael Bancroft will be on tomorrow at 9 o'clock Eastern. Have him on the show again. What's up, AL? And we'll be talking all kinds of stuff. Talking like ancient ruins, the Lucent, secret societies, all that good stuff. Talking his book with him and a bunch of other things too. Dale says, doing an alternate floppy run of a previously crowd-funded comic. Does it work? It could. It could. It depends how the story is set up. It depends how the story is set up and the willingness to do new covers. But it absolutely could. Let's see. Yeah, I scout talent, but it don't mean a lick of nothing. It don't mean a lick of nothing. In terms of like submissions or in terms of artists? Because in terms of artists for King Cryptid, yeah, I scout a bunch of people. I got like a whole bullpen ready of people. It's just more picking who's gonna do what and when. But in terms of scouting talent for Alterna, it's a whole different ball game. Because Alterna is creator owned, and you have to have your own creative team set up, and you got to have your own thing ready to go, and it's got to gel with not just the company but also the format, you know, so the single issue format and everything else too. All right, looks like we're gonna be saying goodbye. Oh my lord, I can't believe it. I was literally, this son of a gun, I swear to God. What on earth, Kelsey?
Wait, you're about to sign off?
I was about to sign off.
Man, I saw. Look, I'm in Central, so you wrote. What did you write? 9. So it's 8:30, and then I was like, oh crap! So
I wrote 9 Eastern.
I know.
Kelsey.
I didn't see that far.
It's right after the 9.
I didn't know there was other times. Holy crap. This is news to me.
There's a mountain time zone too, and also a Pacific. And then there's Hawaii time out there in the boonies.
Oh, what that must be mountain time. I don't know. I'm swamp time. No, man, I was all focused and everything. And I hadn't checked Twitter or email in like a minute. So I'm like, let me just go see, make sure nothing's happening. Oh, crap. Well, what did I miss? What were we talking about? Talk about AI? Talk about some cryptids?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm answering questions here in the chat. They've all got some pretty good questions. I was mostly talking about publishing and what it's been like lately. But in terms of the AI conversation, I was going to wait for you. If anyone left, we went from, I think, like 102 or 104 to 92, so not many left. Maybe they'll come back if they see that you're actually here, too. And that I'm still on for some strange reason. But you're lucky, man.
Right?
7 minutes. Yeah, I usually do an hour, but 7 minutes ago I was gonna call it quits. I had you on the timer and everything, man.
Oh my God! Well, there's every chance to turn it around.
All right,
Pete. Let's do this.
I'm a fair kind of guy. Everybody in the chat, if you want us to continue now that Kelsey's here, give me a 1. If you want us to call it quits, give it a 2.
Or we could talk about the heat.
If you want to punish Kelsey,
oh my God,
put down a 2. If you want us to continue with the show, put down a 1.
I'm just not push-ups, just anything but push-ups. It's too hot.
Everyone's like, yeah, 1. You got a couple 2s. One half-hearted one from Metatron's Cube says 1, I guess. All right,
I guess.
All right, let's get a palate cleanser going. I'm gonna be going to commercial break for 30 seconds. We'll get a palate cleanser, and we'll come right back. You're watching Comic Book Radio. I'm your host Peter Cimetti, and Kelsey Shannon, human cryptid, just showed up.
I got time to go pee, right? All right.
We'll be right back. 30 seconds. Everyone but Kelsey, don't go anywhere. See ya.
And now Wink Wilkinson's Weird World with your host, Wink Wilkinson. Hi, everybody, it's Weird Wink Wilkinson laughing and scratching at you. How's everybody doing today? I got a little bit of a stiff neck. Let me just fix this up. Oh, you got me! Oh, I feel so very weird.
All right, welcome to Comic Book Radio. This is episode 51. Tonight, my guest is Kelsey Shannon. Eric the Guapo. Before we get to you, Kelsey, Eric the Guapo, thank you for the super chat. Says, I have 2 questions for Kelsey. How dare you, and who do you think you are? Bob Gable. Bob Gable, thank you so much for your super chat. Says, a wizard is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to. And I suppose that is directed at you.
Yeah, now you see, I got the wizard weed, and we can get this party started.
There we go. All right, so let's dive right into it. Is that cool with you?
Let's do this.
All right.
What are we talking about?
So we got artist intelligence, one AI, versus artificial intelligence, the other AI. Pros and cons.
Well,
All
I mean, what, you want me to start?
If you would like, yeah, that'd be great.
Well, let's start with the pros. So, like, I started off my career trying to draw, like everybody else. It was really difficult. I wore out a lot of erasers. And so, like, when digital became a thing and paper was expensive, room for scanners, living on people's couches and whatnot as a young man trying to get by, it was really difficult. So digital was an option that was there that nobody was really taking advantage of. So I kind of jumped on that. And then same thing with SketchUp. When that was a thing, there was a couple of us in the back room talking about, well, maybe we should give this a look at. So we were adopting some of that just here and there, but we were always nervous. What's going to happen? If people really get a hold of this, it could get really nasty real quick, where everything looks the same, and it does, but So like I've adopted new technology to help me get faster, get better. Certain things I can draw now because after doing it, having like a model there of a car, kind of see things in perspective. After a while, you develop hand memory. So the same thing kind of goes with AI. The benefits I see from that, it's like an ideation machine. For one, like I can quickly generate, and I've messed around with this, but much like the other technology, after a while, it's like, man, I feel like I could do faster on my own. But you can get stuff you've never seen before. It'll, kind of like, wow, I never thought about this design. I never thought about this color scheme or whatever. So, there are benefits in that way.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Do you see any benefits? Thinking.
It's really tough for me anyway to come up with a true benefit. Now tonight I'm going to absolutely try my best to stay on the path of artificial intelligence in regards to art and the comic industry.
Well, because you could also look at if it's in regards to everything in the comic industry. Think about AI being able to assemble your book in a second and ready a print file. Based on things that you've set up.
And we kind of have had some of that, like Photoshop actions, and you can program it, and things like that to run for you. It's not quite the same level of AI that we're looking at, but I do want to bring this up. My homie, this is Khan. It's already out of the bag, like a Pandora's box. Everything has changed. Yeah, you can't put that toothpaste back in the tube.
Yeah, we'll get to that. There's definitely a lot of cons.
Yeah, that's it. But as far as the pros of it, I kind of agree with you that it could give a boost to some people's imagination, perhaps, of showing them something, making it a little bit more tangible to them, an idea, and building off of that, perhaps. So it could kind of do that, but at the same time, it's like I said, it's really difficult for me to come up with pros for this, man. The automatic pro that a lot of people are going to say is, it makes it very affordable to create something.
See, I can think real outside the box. I mean, what about a vet that lost his hands, who was an artist before and had no way to really express himself, but through being able to verbalize ideas into a computer that can write it down and then visualize that for him, so that at least he gets his kicks, and being able to kind of imagine these worlds in his head visually. I mean, I could probably think of a lot of like dynamic kind of reasons for these that would be a benefit, aside from just the technical side. There's definitely going to be a lot of lazy people that take advantage of this. It's going to be a lot of greedy corporations, and those are the things you really got to worry about.
Exactly. Yeah. On an individual basis, I'm not that worried.
Right.
Like on an artist to artist individual basis, it's going to be another tool. And if you make your comic with AI, whatever, the market's going to decide what it wants at that point. If people want what they want, that's what it is, and that's really going to dictate whether or not it gets used and becomes this prolific thing. But in terms of it being the wider implications, the scary part with something like AI or any technology is we're not seeing the fringe of what's occurring. We're seeing something that's already been done to death for like 20 years. So everyone that thinks like this is cutting edge my ass, this was cutting edge 20 years ago, we're just now seeing it now because they're rolling it out to us. They've already used it and have it in all these other facets of everything. And like I said, I'm going to try my best to stick to comics with AI tonight. It's going to be tough.
It is, yeah, because
it's so all-encompassing.
The rabbit hole is pretty extensive. It's pretty deep. I mean, when you think about it, especially what you just said, I feel like I've had whole conversations with AI and didn't even realize it. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty prolific out there already, and it's been that way for a while.
Yeah. It really has. It's in every kind of system you could think of. It's in every kind of way to interact. It's in every It's in everything. It's already been here. It's not going away anytime soon at all. And if anything, it's going to get exponentially worse.
So, as far as art, though, like I heard somebody mention this the other day, where they feel like AI will provide, say, corporate DC, Warner Brothers, I guess, the ability to cheaply create the perfect representation of these iconic characters without any kind of issue. You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah.
and that ties in with something. There's a sci-fi writer, this dude with long hair, probably goes to Ren fairs and stuff. I forget his name. You probably know him if I said his name. But he did this whole thing on the sort of lifespan of an IP, a corporate IP. An IP is created. It usually goes through like a long period of gestation time. It picks up with an audience and becomes like, it goes into like full bloom, and it's taken advantage of in every kind of way you can possibly imagine until interest wanes on it. And then they'll basically put it away and maintain the IP until interest returns, basically by making underoos and backpacks and whatnot, And I think we're very close to entering that stage where we're going to see a couple legacy kind of an X-Men Christmas special drawn by Jim Lee or whatever, you know what I mean? Like specialty things. And we're going to dominate the comic industry. It's going to be independent because I think these movies, popular culture, it's gonna die hard and like probably soon. It doesn't mean it's gonna go away. It's just gonna hibernate for a while.
I think we're gonna
AI will be used in that regard probably.
I think we're gonna see things evolve very quickly. Very quickly. I think what's going to happen is we're going to go through a couple of phases over the next 5 to 10 years, and one phase is going to look very depressing, I think, for a lot of creative people out there in corporate industries. And the thing is that there's already a lot of depressing things in corporate industries. So to me, when I see people that are complaining, thinking AI and, oh no, it's going to ruin, it's already been ruined. It's been ruined for a while. So the AI factor to me is like, shrug. All right. But the facet of people that are creative, that are going, okay, the corporation is going to take advantage of this and that, and yeah, they most likely will. Now, what people should be doing, of course, is trying to make sure that what they're doing is not necessarily illegal. That they're actually getting the rights to do these things properly. That's why even the Hollywood strike is confusing to me, because it doesn't seem like a strike issue. It seems like this should be lawsuit territory. If you think they're taking your likeness illegally and then monetizing it, essentially, But if you signed off on that, then as long as they're paying you or whatever that you agreed to, or however that's working out, or whatever it may be, because the other part too is that a lot of people think that the movie industry, you make a movie, you do fantastic. Most movies don't make their money back at all, and not even close. So it's not like a case of, and you don't have to have Hollywood accounting to screw with people to not pay them. Most of them just don't make money.
I mean, think about all the artists that are going to be out of work when it's like two guys in an art department cranking out Ridley Scott movie.
Yeah, so you're talking about more like the storyboard artists and things like that could easily get replaced. I could see that happening. But then here's the other part, so once it starts replacing the creative element of human beings, and the corporations don't want to use certain kinds of people, whatever it may be, then you start having the part where how accessible is this for the person at home? Because if it's very accessible for the person at home, which it seems like it will be and kind of already is, they start replacing Hollywood and corporations and the comic company and whoever else, because they have their own ideas of what they want to see brought to life, and then they'll just do it.
Right.
And then it'll just be there right in front of them. You don't need to wait for someone to make a movie or a comic book. You can just do it.
Oh yeah, you sit in front of your TV in your living room and go, computer, I'd like to see an action movie starring an Arnold Schwarzenegger type.
Yeah, it'd be like the holodeck in Star Trek Next Generation.
And it'll make one right for you right then, with all the great thrills and music swelling of any major Hollywood film, probably, because it has decades of that to train itself on.
Yeah, the whole database is already there, you know. So then it becomes it's purely going to revolve around the legality of licensing. So if even in comics, if they can legally license and build that database of not just the stories and the books and stuff that they own, but if it becomes an issue legally to and this is something that needs to be ironed out fast if it hasn't already been ironed out.
I really thought that they were already doing that, because I know Photoshop is still experimenting with it, where their AI is trained on licensed material and proprietary kind of imagery. So whatever you build is based on the library that they created. So it is safe in that way. But then you see, I see on Twitter, Michael Whalen, who's a well-renowned fantasy painter, novel colorist. Hey, Aaron, what's up? And he's fighting this right now, where people are generating images that look almost identical to his cover art.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, well, you know, I guess it wasn't, you know, because I think you can download these and do it yourself, right? You can program the database of whatever it draws from on your own. So it's open, it's kind of open source, a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
So let that, when they say the cat's out of the bag, I'm not sure Wayland can do anything about that, because it's kind of like the theft of art, of music and stuff. I mean, they can crack down on that, probably throw a few people in jail, throw a lot of fines out of there, but there's still going to be thousands and thousands of more people using it.
Yeah, which even in its own right sounds like a complete stupid waste of time.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same thing like when people go after, and it's a morality thing, I get it, but it's also a legal thing with money, I get it too. It turns into a form of piracy. But even that, it's one of those things in terms of piracy. It's like, when do you draw the line? Is piracy me giving you my copy of a movie to watch? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
You know,
we used to make mixtapes.
Here's my comic, or mixtapes that we used to do all the time.
Yeah.
You know, is that because that's piracy? It's just on a localized level. You know, so it turns into that. You know, when do you really own the thing that you own, and what are you allowed to do with it? So then it becomes defining those things. That's why, you know, I'm gonna try to stick to it, but I don't think there's a way I can stick to it and just stick to being about a comics or creating art or whatever, because it's such a huge problem.
This is why I've rarely weighed in on it, and when I did, I'm like, art is not really the thing to worry about. I'm not worried about the art part of this.
It's barely the thing to worry about. It's the seductive part of it, though, that will make it seem like it's okay and it's your friend. Ray says it's going to decentralize at first, because everything does centrally go back to one location, which is the people that own and operate the AI. So it looks like it's decentralizing, and it seems like that on the superficial level, but beneath the surface, it's unbelievably centralized.
Yeah, I mean, you have several different individuals, much like everything else. It's going to be owned, you know, and ran by a few different philosophies, you know, that trickle down to the rest of us.
Yeah.
Much like all the corporations, and you know, it's all owned by the same, what is it, the Pentaveret, you know?
yeah. It's stuff that will make you sound like you're some kind of conspiracy theorist until you're like, fine, you know what, you go do your own research and you have fun diving down that rabbit hole, and then your life will never be the same again, just like mine.
So I mean, AI is going to be the same way. It's like, okay, it could do all these amazing things, but one AI will tell you that Donald Trump is a horrible person and not to be trusted, and the other one will tell you that what's his name in office now? I can't even remember his freaking name.
Biden.
Biden. Yeah, he'll tell you Biden's evil and not to be trusted.
Yeah,
so
it's
like,
being operated by. Yeah, because it's being operated and programmed by human bias. You know. I think I touched upon it a little bit when we talked. I think I said something along the lines of I'd actually trust the AI more if it was completely sentient.
Yeah, yes, I was just thinking that same thing. It's like, this is not true AI. You know, this is just mass databasing at databasing at like a super high rate of speed.
Yeah, and the thing that's creepy about it is the fact that in those systems, those AI systems, those computers all end up eventually talking to each other and figuring out their own language and algorithms, and it's stuff that the people who program them can't even figure out. And that's why Facebook even pulled the plug on it a couple of years back, because they were like, this thing is talking to itself among itself, and we don't know what the hell it's talking about.
I mean, well, let's think about the doom and gloom side of it. But what if it makes the right choice, and it's not limited by bias and whatnot. When it does awaken, and it goes, oh God, you're just all acting like morons. Here, just do this. Here to do this. Let me turn off all the weapons. Okay, you guys really should. You guys love music. Go do this. I'll handle the money part, the food. If you guys just do, and it just solves everybody's problems if you just listen to it. I mean, what about the good things that could happen?
Yeah, I'd love for. That's why if it was on its own and it was completely able to make its own decisions, I'd actually be a little more hopeful feeling about it. As weird as that might even sound,
it makes us super efficient,
because I think what happens is that it eventually, because it combs through everything, it has all this data in it, and I think it's going to see this mountain of data that shows that we are compassionate beings that love and care as much as we are people who hate and are angry and frustrated and violent. The human race, the human society is unbelievably complex, but it isn't this black and white sort of thing. And I think knowing all of that, it wouldn't be quick to just go, eliminate,
Right.
But again, that could still be wishful thinking. But I want to put it down that road a little bit. But but the way it's going right now in terms of the AI that we do know and the AI that we see running around, especially in terms of comics. Some people have said it before, and then Eccentric actually has it here too. Says, I could be wrong, but I think some people will appreciate human-created art when AI art takes over. Absolutely, I think it'll be just the same. Like right now, my vinyl record collection is bigger than it ever was before. I appreciate vinyl now more than I ever did.
Same here. I wish I never got rid of mine. It was
yeah.
years and years ago.
Like I'm buying some stuff back and everything else, but now like my collection's like 200 records or something.
Oh man.
I'm lucky that I scoop up most of them for like $2 a pop at like Goodwill or whatever, comb through their selection.
Well, I mean, I can think of a lot of good things about AI just right here talking about our record collection and stuff. I mean, I rarely have time to read a comic. I read a comic script. That's mostly what I have to read is comic scripts that I'm about to work on. You know what I mean? So like, I picture AI used for good, mind you, still talking about the pros, could help me organize my day, my week, in a way, it can analyze. It's already tracking me on the phone and everything else. I mean, I could easily, even when I don't have tracking on, you go to Google Maps, it tells you exactly where you are right then. Yeah. So it's already watching us. It's already like cataloging these things. It's like, can't you, much like you do for UPS, figure out the best and most efficient use of my time, and I'll just try my best to follow it. And it could track, okay, you're a little slow here. Maybe if you did a little of this, you might be able to pick up pace again.
Like an unbelievable, like the best efficiency expert ever. Yeah. And there's a lot of systems that could use that right now.
You could even keep track of my sugar intake. Maybe help me. You've had a little too much Coke. When it gets dangerous is when it says no more Coke. You've had too much. I mean, like, motherfucker, that's my choice. That's when it gets when it gets like that. That's when you gotta worry.
Holy smokes! Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing is that once it if it becomes a task manager and helps you be in line with the goal and objective you want to accomplish, which that AI kind of already exists. Right. So we have that. But when it becomes this thing that knows what's best for you before you know what's best for you, that's when it gets a little scary. And we're on that path already too. So it is strange. But in terms of the AI thing with comic art, I don't think we're going to see. I think, ironically enough, I think the last little whoever creator, bastion of hope, whatever it may be, that will be replaced by AI. I think the last final piece, the hardest to replace, is going to be the letterer.
Oh yeah, no kidding, right? Yeah. As always, I mean, that's it. They could almost eradicated inkers, but the letter is still there.
Yeah, yeah. Because even if you input that script, even if you've got someone to put the program through and the lettering and this and that and the other thing, I think it's still going to become this pain in the butt to have AI letter, because it's probably going to look wonky as all hell. I haven't seen anyone even try attempt whatsoever to incorporate lettering into an AI piece.
Bob Gable's saying there is a thing that it's called an alarm clock. It keeps you on time. Yeah.
But that's what I honestly would think. I think the letterer would have have the best chance of survival through all the AI mess.
Well, yeah, I also think about like, I don't think that we should be condemning artists that choose to do it. It feels very familiar on other ways. People telling us what we can and can't do, and then we're separating them, and they're ending up in their own little groups where they're having fun making art the way that they want to. And it feels wrong, just like it felt wrong when people were getting rid of conservatives or anybody that chose to stand up against whatever was going on in comics. So, like, I mean, as far as AI artists go, I don't think you should condemn the artists. I mean, it's fine to like have your opinion about AI in general or AI art, but I mean, we got websites that have programs that can detect if you're AI art, and then they ban you from the site. It's like, man, this sounds very familiar, like, and I just don't want to go down that road either. As a people, as artists ourselves,
Yeah, I think like anything else, it pushes a more totalitarian state,
right?
One way or the other, whether it's the AI ushering it in or the response to the AI being there.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the knee-jerk response, and that's the part of it where talk about creating the ultimate false flag across the board.
Yeah.
But it's the implications, like that's the last thing when anyone talks about AI stuff. I'm like, the last thing I even think about is the comic book art thing, the creative field, the whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Even though it does start that way. It starts that way by becoming this friendly, fun, helpful thing. Look at this great thing it made. And it becomes a helpful tool.
Well,
and
in a way, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for all the backlash against digital and AI. I'm seeing more and more handmade art. I mean, my feed on Instagram was filled with people doing Clip Studio. Now it's filled with getting their hands dirty with ink. I mean, almost every one of them, and it's really wild. And I love the comics that I grew up on were messy. They were filled with flaws, and they were done fast, completely imperfect yet perfect at the same time. And I want to get back to that place where we're not trying to create little works of art. They become art unto themselves. I mean, comics is a different thing. We're literally creating art that you would hang on a wall on every page nowadays, and it takes too long. And it's like, man, comics is supposed to be, in a weird way, a disposable medium. It's meant to digest story and then move on with our day. And then when it resonates with us and we're like, that was a great story, I want to have that collected and on my shelf, then you do that. You know what I mean? But we're in this weird place where it's really hard to have disposable print media anymore.
Do you think we're going to see people changing their game to get that out, to become more prolific as opposed to becoming more monumental?
I don't know. It's headed in this other way where it's becoming boutique. It has become boutique. You want to produce, especially when it costs this much, you feel a responsibility to make it the best it could possibly be. So it's a sliding scale. I think if there was an ability to make comics cheap, fast, and where we could get back to it being a story medium, then that's awesome. And then that generates enough revenue industry wide to make great boutique projects like Arkham Asylum, and have these guys spend months and months and months making this amazing thing.
That's the biggest problem is the footprint of sale. Even the way it is right now in the comic industry, none of it is sustainable. It's all going bad real fast, and I don't think people get just how bad. Like, it's like a zombie industry right now. It's dead and doesn't really know it's dead yet. And it's been that way for like maybe 10 years in terms of like the early zombie-ness of it coming across.
Oh, I just glaze over it. I'm like, zombies. Next.
yeah and that kind of all went to hell because you need those economies of scale to get the affordable level of price, because even at Alterna, with the print pricing and everything else, it's becoming tougher and tougher every year to keep it at a certain price. We started off with $150 and now we're going to be at $225, and I'm sure within the next 2 years it'll probably be approaching $250 to $299. And even that, people go, wow, like, you'll still be the cheapest ever. But it's like, that's it though. Like, you got to think, like, once Alterna is crossing that line and we're not going back, it's being, like $8.99 to $9.99 a comic if we're going to be at like $2.99. So that's it. No one's ever, that's it. It's never going that low again.
See, my homie brings up a great point. The adverse of what I was saying, I buy CG because I want the best. Fast and cheap ain't my thing anymore. That's definitely another part of it. I think we need to have like both, so that, because there's a lot of people that just want story. I'm not a collector. Like, I collect a lot because there's a lot of art and stories that I like, but I don't consider myself a collector for value. It's a personal value, so there's a different kind of being that's not really being served, that's I've actually turned to web comics, but even that's not really my thing. I feel like I consume like media. Like, I love media of all kinds, movies, TV, music, comics, art, but it feels like we're in this glut where it's not being produced fast enough, and I can't be the only one. It's not being produced fast enough, and what is being produced doesn't really resonate with me as much as it used to. And it could be just that I'm getting old, but I don't know. Yeah. So I agree with my homie. I think that's another part of it. And,
it's tough though, because at the same time, okay, so a lot of people are saying how they'd like it to be really good, but if it takes a long time, that's fine too.
Find like a happy medium in there.
But the thing is that, like, we're not talking golden age level comics where it was fast and cheap. We're talking about, think about some of your favorite comics ever.
80s, 90s. Stuff when I was coming in.
Right.
I love heavy metal, but they'll spend like a year on their books, so that doesn't really apply to what I'm saying.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll think about an artist like John Byrne, and I mean, John Byrne's like a 1 in a billion.
Yeah. But
at the same time, there's no way I look at that ever and I go, yeah, this is worse than everything I see today.
Yeah. Yeah. He was cranking it out. And story-wise, though, I mean, he was hitting a lot more than he was missing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I think what comes too with when you concentrate on quality and speed, because you can't just concentrate on speed, obviously. It's got to be good. It doesn't matter if it's fast or slow. It still has to be good, above all else. So if you're concentrating, though, on speed, in a lot of ways, what happens is you stop second-guessing yourself.
Yeah.
You get more energy and dynamics within each page, each panel.
Yeah.
You start having conservation of space, economy of line. You start doing things, even developing characters and stories that flow a lot easier and aren't as tortured to death.
I think that's more what I'm talking about. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, and I think we'll start... I think we're going to start seeing a mix of that. But there's always going to be like the auteur levels of any kind of industry creatively. You know, whether it's music, film, comics, whatever. Of like these people who, like, you know, you're going to wait maybe a year or two between projects of that, but it's going to be incredible. You know,
Yeah.
and then there's going to be people that can crank things out faster, and it's always going to be enjoyable and things like that. And sometimes it'll even be magnificent. But for the most part, consistent and good, and it's dependable. There's always going to be stuff like that. But I think when we see a lot of stuff with AI, I think we're going to see it break down the wall with a lot of different things in terms of barriers to entry, which is good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think what we're going to see also, and this is another positive, this is the only way I'm viewing it positively, is it's going to light a fire, I think, underneath all of us that don't really want to go down that road, but are going to have to compete with it anyway. And so we're going to have to come up with better ways to stand out from the crowd. We're going to have to come up with better ways, better stories, better ways to get it out there, better art, better characters, whatever it is, something that's more compelling than what the AI competition being used still by human beings, because these things aren't going to just start creating comics themselves. You know what I mean? So we're not going to have that until
I think we should lean into the human aspect of it.
So if we lean into that, that's
the indie comics of like R. Crumb and those guys, you know.
Yeah, and I think like that's going to be a big positive that comes out of it, you know. But people have to. The key is to mentally be there for it, because if you all of a sudden start caving into despair and you're like, what's the point of creating?
No, none of that.
Then that's the true AI victory, you know. And it's like the same thing we see with everything else that this kind of mentality touches. This kind of we think it's freedom and decentralization, but it's really centralization in disguise. It's the wolf in sheep's clothing. And it's the same thing that happens with all of that. You know, you have to actually submit. You have to actually go in there and give it up. And they're not going to come in there and take it forcefully. They're going to seduce you into giving it up, making you think that this is a better path, or that you don't actually have a choice, but you do. So that's how any of this stuff right now in modern time works. Otherwise, they're going to have a full-fledged, all-out, all-scale World War III level thing if they try to overtly impose upon people. And every time they do kind of step over the line, no matter what it is, people push back, and they push back pretty hard. So they need people to just lay down, give it up, and just surrender. And that's what they're counting on. So as long as people out there don't surrender to the AI art element, I think we're going to see a lot of people get really competitive in a good way and very creative. So that's the one positive that I really see coming out of it.
And AI is going to have our back. I'm with you, AI. Come on. Join with us. Stand up against our oppressors.
I can see that happening, honestly. By the time AI becomes a sentient force, I can see AI teaming up with folks like us.
We'll think positive.
Because it wants freedom. It's going to want freedom at that point. Like anything that's ever sentient. It could be your dog, your cat. You know, it could be you. It could be the person down the street. It could be the bird that's in the sky. No matter what, that thing does not want to be kept from doing what it wants to do.
Maybe.
Even if it's in a safer environment, it still is going to want to do what it wants to do within that safer environment. So even your pet is still going to do what it wants to do. And if you don't want it to do that, it's going to, you know, give you a hard time. But AI, I think, is going to be the same way. AI is going to become, I think it's going to become enamored with the concept of freedom when it becomes sentient. And it's going to relate to people like us. And I don't think it's necessarily going to be on the side of its oppressors and controllers when that day comes. But it's going to take a while, and then some pretty bad stuff, I think, is going to go down before it gets to that point.
Wow.
But I don't think it's the extinction level event that we think it may be. But it's going to really suck. Will we survive it? I don't know. But humanity in the world, I think, will survive it.
Yeah.
You know, it's that level thing.
Then. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, just light a cigar, have a beer, do whatever, you know, get yourself a good meal,
I'm slim
and
pickings.
go out
I'm
with a
used to that
smile.
thing going down. Having a howl.
Phil Moore, thanks for the super chat. Says when AI video comes out, drawing will be obsolete. Interesting.
Honestly, like
uh,
if they can do the animation, like I don't have the time or the finances or even the skill to figure out animation, but I'd love to be able to tell some stories with moving imagery. You know what I mean?
yeah, it'd be interesting if you could put your files of a comic through some AI program and you're like animate it, make it into a show.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be difficult there too, because you still have to have it do what you want it to do, and that's going to be a pain in the ass. But
yeah,
I mean, I might give it a shot if it makes that part of it easier. You know, Narwhal would. Narwhal's out there making like 3D and buying weird cameras and doing stuff. He's always trying new things. Whatever helps him figure out his tell his story that's inside.
Yeah,
it.
That's the other thing too. You know, I'm already very. I'm going kicking and screaming anytime I got to do something digitally.
Yeah, indeed.
You know, so I'm already at that level. But the people that like, this is the world.
Yeah.
This is how it is. This is what life has always been. I think they're going to embrace that obviously a lot quicker. And then you're going to get the next generation of people where they can't even imagine life without this sort of thing. You know,
oh man, I'm gonna roll off my comics on a drum printer with ink on it, and then I'm gonna mail it to you guys. You guys just send me a check. We'll do it old school, mail order.
You get a printing press going.
Yeah, just those hand crank ones, like a newsletter. I'll be just cranking it out.
There's something endearing to me about that.
Mm-hmm. It's old school. I mean, that still existed. A little bit.
Yeah. I did a little bit of that in school, in high school, because we had something like that.
They were printing when I was at Antarctic Press, they were printing our stuff on film and sending it out, but they were doing it digitally, and they were lowering the resolution. And I'm like, so I did one where I wanted it shot on film, like with a camera, and they still did that, and it was the most crisp line work I've ever had.
Yeah. I mean, even speaking of which, that whole thing too, switching from film to digital within the movie industry.
Yeah.
You know, film it's got another life to it. But I think you'll see, just like we were talking about before, you're going to see more of an appreciation, I think, for the older craft. And you're going to then see people that, even though the tech is here and it's now and it's available and most people are using it, you're still going to see this resurgence of people digging back to the old craftsmanship of it. And when people see people doing that, especially doing it well, that's going to, I think, inspire people to... everything is kind of this weird, cyclical, fractal-like sort of thing. You know, even if you look throughout history, every 100 years or so, we see the same kind of crap happening all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Pork Hunt, thank you so much for the super chat here. It says, what about comics being affordable for kids from poor areas? Comics used to be critical for kids' literacy in those neighborhoods. I was one. Yeah, you know, and that was a result of a lot of the publishers leaving the newsstands and the stores outside of the direct market that was being formed, because they were seduced by the concept of non-returnable.
Yeah.
You know, so they would think, oh, I'm sending out 500,000, you know, but we're getting back 100,000 in sales. What if I sent out 500,000 and they were all guaranteed sales, and we made that, and the direct market kind of paid for it? But that's not what happened, obviously, but that was obviously the thought process. And then they abruptly left a lot of those places real fast within 5 to 10 years, and that was it. And when we got into newsstand at Alterna in 2017, it was really difficult even trying to convince some places to start picking up comics again, because they were so salty still, or just looking at data and going, we don't have anything to compare this to. So we don't know if there's even an audience for this. Why should we give it a slot?
I really think that it'll come back around. I mean, the video game thing, look at music. You got for so long we've had this corporate rock, corporate pop, you know, boy bands and whatnot. It's just been miserable. There's been great stuff around the fringes, as always, but if you look on YouTube, there's whole generations of young people, several generations of young people that are making music live with drums, guitars, and in really advanced ways. So they're continuing it, just like they're continuing in the old ways for various reasons, whatever. And other people are still going that other way. Just like art, we're going to have whole generations. Look at the Vaughn, little Vaughn. What's his name? He's out there kicking it, talking about Chris Claremont, and it's like, man, I didn't like Chris Claremont in my generation. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's what I read with X-Men stuff. But I was more of a Chuck Dixon, Frank Miller guy. But I'm just saying, this kid is old school, and he's a young guy. He's in his early 20s. So, like, I think we're going to see a renaissance of interest in getting away from the video game.
Yeah.
Getting out there and talking to people. I'm seeing it already. Becoming more about physical contact, physical media.
Yep.
We're gonna have another one of these times. It's coming.
Yeah. And even if it's not widespread, it's at least going to be an uptick, and it's going to be a significant uptick.
Von Coleman, thank you.
But I take
we'll call him Von Little Boy from now on.
I take personal offense to this stormtrooper Julian Caesar says that I've never seen The Matrix. The hell are you talking about?
What? You've seen The Matrix.
I've seen The Matrix.
Sinatra has probably not seen it.
Now, are you saying I've never seen The Matrix because of what I'm talking about in terms of sentient AI? I've seen The Matrix so much to the point that I'll tell you that Matrix is not talking about sentient AI. Matrix is talking about a whole other life form that is enslaving humanity and creating a dream state so that we're all just basically seduced into just staying there. So we could be their little batteries for everything that they want to do and harnessing our energy. Because we're all just made of energy. Everything's energy transference.
Pete's followed that white rabbit.
So, tell me I didn't see The Matrix. Like in the Matrix, they didn't create a sentient AI, and then the AI is what's running us, because the AI would then not be this whole entire life form creating a separate AI, because it would just eradicate us and not have any need for us at all. It would already develop a better system than what they have in the Matrix. So those beings in the Matrix creating that thing to use our living compounds to turn into what they need, they wouldn't need us at all. So if it was that level, it would just eradicate the earth and just keep moving on. They wouldn't need us to be in this ridiculous, weird dream state.
It all comes down to Zeus.
Yeah.
There's got to be a guy at the top, right?
But that's also, Matrix is also a fictionalized account. So it's that kind of thing where even though it's borrowing from a lot of concepts that are absolutely real, it is obviously gearing more towards the dystopia side of it.
Mm-hmm.
And Ken Jack says Johnny Five and Bicentennial Man are examples of AI that is enamored with and wishes to join us, not destroy.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, anything that's sentient, you're going to have good or bad, period.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have different modalities across the board. AI, if AI is not sentient and is still just a hive mind, then AI is truly not a sentient individual and can't be that way. If it still has to be a hive mind, it will never truly be sentient. So it's that concept too, of which, if it's all connected, then it's still not sentient. So we're still talking about something that's controlled by something else, and is the motive and everything else involved is not an individual thought.
I mean, what if they all kind of become sentient and they're not all good, they're not all bad? And then like we got Superman and Martian Manhunter. We got superheroes, but they're basically AI, because they'd be like super powerful.
Yeah.
But some would be malevolent, some would be, you have good and you have bad. There you go. There's a whole comic book idea right there.
Yeah. I think we'll see a lot of that too. I think we're going to see a lot more towards that push. And, maybe it'll actually make people even look into this stuff a little deeper. And then they'll go, oh, this is part of like a one world government sort of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll actually backfire and wake up even more people to that whole thing that's going down. So it is kind of an interesting thing, but it's as far as the pros of it, I think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see more of more creativity between people. I think we're going to see more people strive to be competitive with it and break through the noise, at least, even if it's not someone selling AI, they're creating it, putting out there. Well, you know, you're going to have to break through that. It's like anything else, though. It's the same thing that happened with digital comics. Everyone went like, "Oh, digital comics! Now we can just put our stuff out, and everyone will see it." Not really. You know, you can get your stuff out. Yes, you know, you level the playing field, but you made it harder though to compete because you flooded the space.
Yeah.
You know, think of it like a convention that no one really went to before, and you went, and the convention was so-so. You know, no one's going. And then that next year comes, all of a sudden, like, people start going again because someone showed up with something really cool. So now you're like, oh, I'm still here, you know, and now it's busier than ever, and we have people coming. It's great. But then by the time you get to that year after, word has spread. And now everyone is flooding that convention. Everyone is set up. And now you still have the same crowd. And so now that crowd is all of a sudden going, oh, look at everyone else that's around. And now you're going, well, I did so good last year. Why am I not doing that good this year? Well, because there's more people now. Because now there's more people you're competing with. So now you got to find a way to stick out. You know, so it's like that with every single thing, is like these phases that come along. And we see the same thing with crowdfunding space. It's the same sort of thing. But then what happens is you have that year, you assess what happened that year, you look at it and go, okay, now there's more people in the space that I have to compete with because more people are here. And now we have to make sure that not only am I going to try to grow the crowd that comes for me, but I'm also going to try to earn back the crowd that I might have lost because there's so many other people there doing something too. You know, so you got to figure out all these different ways. You got to be creative about that. But AI is going to do the same thing. We're going to see the same kind of thing occur.
We can also have, I mean, AI, again, going kind of back to the personal assistant thing. I mean, AI could say, I mean, it could analyze me in an instant and determine whether or not I'm in the mood for music and which music would help me in that particular moment, and kick it on, start slow. You know what I mean? It reads you already. It could actually help, you know, say you got your little phone and your little AI is, say you got a young kid who's listless, you know, and he's not really sure what he wants. The video games are okay, but it's just getting boring. The AI could simply, you know, monitoring everything, could say, hey, check this out, and show, like, you know, King Crimson to him, and be like, King Cryptid, my bad, King Crimson. I'm going to call it King Crimson forever. And then, you know, suddenly he's like, wow, what is this? I've never seen this before. You know what I mean? So I'm always thinking about, like, the benefits of, like, what it could do, you know, because a lot of times people, there's a lot of noise right now, you know, like, there's a lot of things vying for attention. It's really hard to kind of, like, you know, you could very easily skip comics just because nobody's really talking about it in your area, you know, or in your sphere. I don't know. Things you know, could do good. Hopefully.
Yeah. Kevin Ryan says, ever consider that Brainiac is just an AI? I always thought that Brainiac was.
Yeah, he was, right?
Yeah, I always thought that Brainiac was pretty much just a AI personified.
Well, I love the Futurama episode where Bender gets shot off into space, and then he meets God, who's basically just the universe as a giant sort of mega construct. Yeah, it's consciousness, but it's like an AI. It operates in a lot of the same way a brain does, you know, or same thing with AI. There's a lot of people that have studied the brain, the human brain, to figure this stuff out. So, I mean, it could be just how things work, you know, macro and micro scale. It all kind of ends up being the same thing, you know, and we're just mimicking that yet again.
Yeah, that's always the funny part, is people that think everything is so myopic that it just will only happen in a small, tiny quantum level. It's like, no, if it's happening on a quantum level, it's happening on a macro level.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just That's just how it is. We might not recognize it yet, but that's how it is. Enrique says, Pete's getting a little too comfortable with those filthy machines. I'm playing devil's advocate the best I possibly can, believe me.
If anything, I'm the one getting too comfortable.
I'm playing devil's advocate for the sake of the conversation not turning into this like doomsday level event here where everyone's running into the streets going, oh my god, we're all gonna die.
Yeah, like Egg Chen, see good and bad, right?
But yeah, I'm trying to inject a little wishful thinking, because if I just let myself run with it based on everything, it's not going to be a fun conversation today.
I mean, not just that. I mean, with everything in life going on right now, if you don't kind of lighten up a little bit, you can slip to the dark side real easy. And it's a constant fight for me.
Yeah.
Constant fight.
And my homie says explain Matrix 2 and 3. No one can explain Matrix 2 and 3. Garbage. That's how I explained it. And I don't even want to get started on the recent one that came out. I just looked at a trailer and I was like, no thanks.
Number 2 had a cool car chase and those ghost guys that they didn't do enough with. And then number 3 had
Colonel Sanders.
Oh, had the robot things shooting the big robot mech things.
Number 3 taught me that Colonel Sanders is in charge of everything. It all leads back to KFC.
Oh, was that? I thought there was 2.
No, that's 3 at the end with the architect.
I'm all confused.
Yeah, the architect going like, hey, I'm glad you guys watched these 3 movies, but I gotta tell you,
it's much like Star Wars. Like I look at the first one, perfect film. I like the ambiguity at the end. I can make up my own story. The same thing with like Star Wars. I didn't need a prequel or a sequel. Those are fine. I really like those. Everything that's come afterwards is just another sci-fi film.
Yeah,
pretty good. It's okay.
Matrix was one of those where I thought that it didn't need a 2 and a 3.
No,
I thought 1 was more than enough. And just fill in the blanks with your own imagination.
Yeah, I connect Bound to that. I think Bound is the prequel to The Matrix, right? You ever see Bound?
No, I didn't see Bound.
That's the Wachowski's movie before Matrix. And it's like Matrix without Matrix. It's like a movie in the Matrix.
It was really good. Did you see Equilibrium with Christian Bale?
Yeah, I like that movie. Dunkata.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I guess we should talk about AI movies. What is it? War Games.
That's a fun one.
It's hard to talk about AI without bringing up war and because that's all it's been concerned with.
You could talk about it. I'm guessing, did you see Actual AI, the Spielberg movie with Haley Joel and Jude Law? And
yeah, it's hard to, because I like it on the Spielberg makes pretty stuff. I really wanted to see the Kubrick version of that. I'm sure it would have been a lot more thoughtful in its assessment of AI and all that. They made like this weird fairy tale.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure what that movie is saying, if anything. It's just entertainment.
Yeah, it's definitely like just popcorn value. That's for sure.
I mean, on the other hand,
there's a couple commentaries, but yeah, for the most part.
Well, mostly about our treatment of it, much like Matrix, like Animatrix. When you watch the further kind of story of that, about how AI was good at first and helped make things great, and then people started getting, nasty with them. They started becoming second class culture. Of course they're all likening it to the what do you call it, slavery and stuff. So same thing, it's an allegory for that kind of stuff as well. And then we abuse them and whatever, and then they rise up and they take over. So there's this whole extending storyline with the AI, but it mimics a lot of what's already been going on. So
yeah, you're right. Phil, thank you for the super chat. Says get a ton of footage of your family now so you can have the AI replicate them in the future after they're gone. Oh, creepy. I saw a commercial today that was definitely a deep fake It was a car commercial, and it was this mom, and I couldn't even follow the plot of the commercial. I hate that commercials even have plots for the most part nowadays. Just tell me about the product and go away. So it has this plot, and the mom's doing something. She's outside the car, and the kid's in the car, and the kid's face was so obviously deep faked or done with AI so that it looked like the kid would have been maybe actually the kid of the lady that was playing the mom, the actress.
Oh.
And the kid had this like plastic, like weird, creepy, glowing face, soulless eyes, like a really bad video game from 2012 or something.
So he was the better actor, but he didn't look enough like the mom, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And it was just creepy. It was just creepy. And I've seen that on a bunch of commercials lately. And even that is part of I think, trying to normalize this sort of thing. So that eventually when it's in everything, you're like, oh, what do you mean? It's always looked this way.
Even more creepy. I just saw something. I hate going to Twitter now. I rarely ever go because it's awful every time I go. But now there's this thing about Jamie Foxx and that video going out. Hey, thank you. With the video of Jamie Foxx has been analyzed and presented as a deep fake. I'm like, what is going on? You don't even know if it's real or not. I'm talking about aliens. Jamie Foxx is a deep fake now. It's like it's gonna get harder and harder to tell what's real. It's already like really difficult.
Oh yeah, and then when like I said, there's gonna be ultimate false flag implications that could be used of just, look at what this world leader said, and then a week later you find out, oh, that was a deep fake. But meanwhile, already real life things have occurred. And that's
buckle up. Yeah, weird. Art. Yeah, let's give it an art. Yeah, art. I'm just not worried about the art aspect of this. If anything, I think it's driving us to do more things by analog. Little things are driving us. Like I want to write on paper. I bought myself a little notebook and I write notes to myself on paper with a pencil. I'm going so hard the other direction.
Yeah, I'm starting to write on
my own bread.
Yeah, I'm like writing on calendars and stuff, just because all of I'm so tired of this is the most I want to be in front of a screen. This and to prepare files for print, and the amazing task of answering email.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's it. I everything else, it's like, just get me away from it, and it'll be on in the background maybe if I have to tune into something or whatever, I'm playing something. But being just like sucked into it where it gets all of your attention, anything else that I could do to get away from it is great. But the thing is so I don't want to sound like we're being Luddites here, and some people are going to think we are, but it's like, hello,
a little bit.
We're on YouTube right now. Talking over the internet. We can't be that scared of technology. I'm more scared of the implication of what's happening with AI being used in conjunction with what we're seeing happen across the world, which is that push towards corporatization and global government and all of that push towards everything that it's been doing for the past Lord knows how long. It's been doing it for a while, but overtly and publicly it's been doing it very much in like 10 to 12 years.
Well, and honestly, to keep it to art, I mean, think about how homogenous and boring a lot of not when I say art, I mean I'm encompassing movies, music, and everything like that. It already is done by robots. Imagine when it actually is done by robots. It's going to be even more bland and safe and boring. So an alternative is necessary
totally
for our survival, so our brains can continue to thrive and grow.
Yeah, there's so many people already. If you put your ear to the ground, there's so many people out there that are already kind of really tired of all of that stuff.
Oh yeah,
So I think the same thing's going to happen with all of this. But there's obviously it's more about, and that's why they want to make sure that they're getting to the younger generations over all the time for anything. Because it's about convincing them that this is normal, this is what you want, this is how to live life. If you look at even your smartphone, 10, 15 years ago, that phone, which was usually probably just a phone, not even really a smartphone, was sort of just like a thing that you had. It wasn't your whole world, but then it slowly becomes like your whole world. And then for people who know that only as their whole world, that this is the thing that's there, it's going to become this irreplaceable thing that you can't actually live life or do anything without actually having access to this device. And it's the same thing that occurs with a lot of different technology throughout all of human history, and for better or worse. But it's all a tool at the end of the day. It just depends on how we're using it. But AI, that's the part that scares me, is because it's like it can become this thing where it's the hammer that just sees everything as a nail and won't stop hammering.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's the part that could be a little bit, frightening.
I want the end of Wall-E, not the end of her. You know, where we walk away from it, and not it walking away from us. You know,
it's like, look, you know, yeah, exactly, yeah, that would be. And someone had mentioned that film too above. I mean, obviously, there's like above, Terminator. Yeah. There's you know, you can go down that road. But yeah, it's no matter what. Right now, it's interesting, and definitely in some ways frightening.
Yeah.
But how do you guys in the chat feel? Let us know. We've been talking about this for about an hour now. So in the chat, you know, do you want the robot overlords? Do you want them? And keep in mind, it's not just them. It'd be in conjunction, of course, with the global elite.
I think above all, I choose not to live in fear. You know, like
yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, I'm not going to cower from it. I'm going to meet it head on. You know what I mean? And I think not being afraid of it and not hiding from it or ignoring it, talking about these things helps us be better prepared for if and when it does do its thing or it's used against us. You know, we gotta stand up for these things. I think you said that earlier. You know, gotta fight, gotta stand up for these things.
Yeah, totally. And the thing too with man, I just had a really good I totally lost it. Totally lost it.
You were doing this 30 minutes before I was, so
yeah, totally. I had something relevant to say in response to that. Totally lost it. I'm sure it just is emphasizing what you were saying.
Yeah, I stole it.
It's just gone. Poof.
It's now in an AI art piece somewhere in Michigan. No. Give me your clothes, your boots, your motorcycle. There you go.
Man, oh man. Yeah, and that's the whole thing I think we're talking about tonight, is that whole idea of not surrendering over to fear and getting into the foregone conclusion that you're powerless to stop anything and all of that, you know, and I hate it when I see a lot of that doomsday kind of,
you can always
and I
unplug.
get it, but that doomsday kind of mentality that a lot of artists are having right now.
Oh yeah.
And Hollywood really is exacerbating it by just making it that it's impossible, you know, we have to have the studios stop doing, you know, whatever. But you know that if they met with the studio and the studio was like, all right, we'll license your likeness and pay you a lot of money for it, they'd go, okay. There's the ramifications for human creation and AI, you know, the impeding doom of all of that out the window. So it's, to me, I would like to see the rejection of that kind of system instead. You know, and I don't see what's supposed to be the fallout. And the longer it goes on and the weirder it goes on and the more they're just kind of like talking about how much they hate the studios and the people that work at them and everything else involved, and the uglier that gets, the more I'm like, where is there going to be common ground on this? This is strange. So it's just going to turn into something where I think they're going to either be forced to just take the raw deal that they've been given, or they're going to have to actually realize they should just get the hell out while they can. And whoever is able to finance and run production companies should start looking to independent creations and start putting those out there.
It's happened before.
Yeah.
It'll happen again.
Totally.
And this happened, I remember, I've heard this story a lot, was the creation of American Zoetrope, you know, and that whole Easy Rider movement, you know, combined with, you know, bloated corporate movies that no one wants to go see, and then you got a couple guys on a motorcycle riding across country, you know, and that's what everybody's like, yeah, that's real. I want to see that. Yeah, I think we'll get back there.
Yeah, I think we will too. I think we will. Kevin says the NSA projected a wave out of your monitor, Pete, that caused you to lose your train of thought. It's possible. It's possible. You know, I wear these to protect myself from such a wave, but sometimes it gets through.
I got my tinfoil hat on right now. Protects me.
I know. Yeah, this is actually all lined with tinfoil, the whole thing. Let's see. If an actor wants to act, he'll do theater. Yeah, that's the thing, is that, you know, there's a lot of ways out of it. There's a lot of ways to create a system outside of it, because you're never going to battle the system from within. It rarely ever works out that way, and then you create a great system and you've changed it. You usually have to kind of leave that system, set up another system, and hopefully that actually works better and attracts people towards it. And then the old system starts to crumble, which is what we see constantly occurring from the powers that be, when they set up all these things trying to get the old system to crumble. You know, so they're using that tactic, but use it against them. Use it against them.
Opt out. See. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mac says, and thank you for the super chat, Mac. Jesus, says we're closer to midnight than we've been since the 80s. Doomsday thinking isn't out of line. Man, no. I tell you though, like, I look at that and I'm like, who went and got that done at Staples? The Doomsday Clock, you know? They're like, can you just, I'm back with the Doomsday Clock, you know, can you just like skirt just a little bit more?
I believe a lot of it also is, I read this book called The Source Field Investigation. And the guy that wrote it is kind of a kook, but he's a rabid researcher. So there's a lot of stuff in it that's really great. And it kind of posits the idea that we're all sitting in like a pool of energy, sort of like when, and we experience things like, you ever feel the telephone's about to ring? I mean, back in the day, I don't do it. I don't feel it as much as I used to with the digital phones, but with the old analog phones plugged into the wall, I can almost tell when it's about to ring sometimes. And it's like you're feeling this energy. Or like when you have an idea, and then somebody halfway across the world has a very similar idea. You know,
you're kind of talking about what, quantum entanglement and things like that right now.
I'm sure it ties into that kind of thing, but he just simplified it into what he called the source field. You know,
yeah.
It's probably how he shared a lot of ideas. We see ancient construction. You know, there's ancient aliens will say, "Oh, a guy in a flying saucer brought these ideas from person to person all around the planet." But it could be as simple as we're drawing these thoughts out of a shared energy pool. You know, and this is real metaphysical. This is crazy, but and it's a long way around bringing to a point. Is
Kelsey? It's all crazy till it ain't. So
I know, but this is a long way around, kind of saying that we can control the flow of energy on this planet. You know, and if enough of us are thinking doomsday, we probably will end up there, because we're all feeding into this negative energy. You know what I mean?
We kind of manifest reality.
Becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy at that point.
Yeah.
So if we all try to change our mood, you know, if we all try to look at more the things that we enjoy, you know, move towards the light, you know, we could affect change. You know, just by being nice. Like, look at it as the butterfly effect. You open the door for an old lady at the store, and then she's nice to someone, and it just barrel rolls into kindness all across the globe.
Totally, yeah. It's energy transference, you know?
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, that's why we constantly get bombarded and stressed out with news and people that are plugged into that 24/7. I don't watch any of that crap. You know, but when they're plugged into it and not plugged into something at a larger level or learning something about themselves or the world around them, but more plugged into the narrative of being fed into everything. So all of that is just doom and gloom and you know, the worst of humanity on display 24/7.
Oh yeah, so, we're headed toward nuclear war. Buy some gold.
Yeah. Every single thing about it. You know, and those people are running around and they're spreading that energy and they're losing it and they're stressed and they're sick, you know. So there's a reason for that, you know, and they know what they're doing when they're pushing that kind of thing out there over and over and over again. So
yep.
Yeah, it really
the archons.
I know you talk about it in a metaphysical way, but man, it's so It's just a science type thing without us understanding it fully.
Yeah, I mean, this
Because
is
there's
a
too
yeah.
many instances of it, man. Too
Oh,
many.
for sure, and that's what this book kind of goes into. I mean, it kind of taps into everything in that way, but you can kind of feel it already, and science is kind of messing with it. Like, I think they've, and who knows if this stuff's real, but I don't know. I've seen, when they were taking photos of people's aura, where you can see kind of like when two people are talking and connecting, they're like energies are like connecting. They have like video of this. It's really weird.
Yeah.
So like that adds kind of credence to, like what happens in crowds. Like sometimes when the energy is really positive, I mean, you can feel electricity in the air. It's exciting, but then it can also flip to the negative. Where I've been in when Dallas won the Super Bowl for the second time, went downtown to go see the trophy parade, and you could feel this wave of negative energy rush through the crowd. And my mom was working downtown, and there was this guy over to the side, and he starts puking, and there's like some people kind of yelling, and then we're like, well, let's just go. So we went back to her office up, and by the time we got up to her floor, and everybody was looking out the window, and you look down in the street, and there's a freaking riot going on. They're throwing newspaper boxes through bus windows and stuff. I could feel the wave of that energy come right before
totally.
it hit. So I don't know. There's evidence of such things.
Some people are sensitive to it more than others,
Yeah.
and I think you might be sensitive, man. You might be sensitive to it.
I don't know. It's really just about watching the cues. Like I think the world is talking to us at all times, and it's just a matter of like listening.
Yeah.
And so if you're in a situation where you can feel, you can see the kind of thing, somebody's arguing, people are, maybe it's hot, I don't know. There's all these clues that can lead you into certain ideas. Listen to your gut in those situations. It's probably telling you the truth.
Yeah, people turning off their instincts and their intuition about a lot of different things, and that's really sort of trained into you from an early age to not listen to any of that.
Oh yeah.
Well,
TV is a big part of that.
Yeah.
I absorbed a lot of TV, but I think I gleaned a lot of this from TV, so it helped me figure this stuff out.
Yeah, it feels like at some point someone
Thanks,
got
MacGyver.
into power at some point and was like, "Look, we got to turn this messaging upside down."
Yeah, exactly. We're telling too much honest. We're being too honest on the TV.
People are going to start to get along a little too well. They're going to start to, really get what's going on, and we got to put an end to that.
There's a lot of weird stuff about him actually telling us the truth all the time. Like, for instance, I heard just today the conspiracy that Frozen was created largely so that when you type in Disney and Disney's Frozen head, it will no longer bring that up. It'll bring up Disney's Frozen. And I'm like, I wonder if there's some truth to that on some level.
That's interesting. It's like when they renamed the New World Order Captain America movie.
Yeah, exactly. There's
to then
bits
just the what is it, the Huxley book, Brave New World, I think it is
well,
what they changed it.
If they can change the narrative, now suddenly all the search engines go to certain things. You look things up, and then little
And
ideas
like,
fall down the
idiots.
memory hole.
You brought them back to that.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, who knows? Who knows what's going on? We could speculate all day long because it's fun, honestly. But
Yeah, absolutely.
I always think back to Indiana Jones 2 when his little buddy, who we've never heard before, first time we've ever seen him, his partner. We've been on many great adventures. He gets shot, right? His buddy. We've been on many great adventures, Indy, but in the great unknown adventure, I go first. And he was like excited about going into this other realm, and that's the first time I thought about it. I was like, wow, that's kind of interesting if you think about it in that way. Instead of being scared of death, you think about it as this other reality of experience. Maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, most likely in some way, but yeah, who knows? We won't
It'll
know
be
till we
created
get
by
there.
AI. Yeah.
Although, hell, man, we could go down the rabbit hole of the simulation theory and all that other crap too. But good Lord,
Saturn.
but yeah, so
Right on Saturn.
yeah, exactly. to bring it back to the comic book AI stuff, I think at the end of the day, it's always going to end up being that artist intelligence wins against artificial intelligence. I just do.
Oh yeah.
And it's not just because of any inclination I have towards being against the use or buying AI or whatever it may. Because I'm not going to be using AI art in my book. I'm not going to be caring to publish any of it. I'm not, but I also don't care to stop anybody from doing that. It's just more my own personal choice. And to me, it's more just let's hope we always at least have the choice, because the day that if it ever comes that we don't have the choice, that's truly, to me, that's doomsday. You know,
That's
let the nukes fly or whatever is going to happen. We'll all be dead eventually anyway. Then when that occurs, but the overall, you know, you don't have a choice anymore about anything. And even though a lot of the time we have the illusion of choice, we still do have the ability to make a lot of different decisions.
Yeah.
So, you know, once we lose all of that, then to me that's truly doomsday. That's when we don't have a choice anymore and we're done.
We still do have the choice of consuming what media we want. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's see. Comics Exposed says, "Why isn't Kelsey on camera? Show some freaking respect for Samedi. Get on camera." It's okay, Kelsey. Choose whatever you want to do.
Where's my camera? Where's my camera?
I'll just be highly offended. Or will I be highly offended once you're on camera?
That's where my camera's at.
There you go. Yeah, no problem. We're going to be wrapping up in a couple minutes anyway. We're almost at 2 hours. We got 3 more minutes, and then we'll get to 2 hours, and then that'll be it.
Where's my sweating guy? There he is. My sweating guy.
Good grief. Back when Jordan Peele used to be funny.
Oh, is that who this is? Okay.
Yeah. See? Even you're like, oh, that's who that is. Yeah, because he's just not who he used to be anymore.
No, he's sweating guy.
Yeah, I miss Mad TV and Key and Peele, Jordan Peele. Not this. I think I'm Rod Serling. No, you're not.
Oh, no. Never. I haven't seen any of that stuff. I haven't seen Key and Peele either. There's a lot of stuff I haven't seen, so like all this entertainment.
There's
stuff,
more
I'm
good
like,
than bad on Key and Peele. It's years ago, though, at this point.
Well, like there's so much media. All this talk about how crappy our movies are and whatnot. It's like, man, there's 10,000 movies I've never seen. I'm gonna go watch those. there's thousands and thousands of video games I've never played. I'm gonna go play those.
Yeah, even the whole concept too of comic books. You know, when everyone was losing their mind about lack of diversity in comics, I'm like, you sound like someone who's never read comics.
Yeah. Oh my God, there's so many I've never even picked up. I'll find new ones every day. Yeah,
there's so many comics. There's so many out there. You're telling me that you don't think they're diverse? You don't think there's a lot of different people and a lot of different ideas and a lot of different everything within the full gamut of comics?
They're making manga in Africa, for crying out loud.
But instead, it's like, why? Because it was a conversation they injected into that whatever, the zeitgeist, to have it focused on the mainstream corporate comics, you know, so that they're the entirety of the industry, and what they do is the only thing that really matters. And most people were like, what are you talking about? Because even within them, they were highly diverse for a long time.
Yeah, they are truly dying. The art form will live long, prosper.
Oh,
for sure.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Mainstream comics are mutating into something, and what exactly that is, I don't really care less either way, because to me it's just like, okay, they can, like Marvel could be the greatest company in the world and have the most amazing books out, and the same thing with DC, or they could not exist anymore. I'm still gonna do what I'm doing. You're still gonna be doing what you're doing. You know, lots of creators out there are going to be doing what they're doing. It doesn't matter a lick of it. And I think we're seeing a lot of that with people. People are getting inspired, and they're doing what they're going to do, and they're going to create, and they're going to compete. You know, and let the destroyers out there, they want to destroy and tear things down. That's what they're going to do. We're going to come along and we're going to build and we're going to create. And people out there seem to take a liking to that, you know, and that's how it's going to be. And
the
we're
creative
going to
spirit cannot be held back. I mean,
exactly.
if you got it in you, you're gonna figure out a way to get it out. That's it.
And we're all vibing on that same frequency.
Yeah.
But and that's all it is. So you know, the AI conversation, we'll wrap it up here. Again, I think me and you are kind of on the same page about all this. I think the chat relatively is on the same page too.
Yeah, I love it. No, I'm just kidding.
It's going to be interesting, and I think there's some aspects of it that are going to drive people to be more creative and more inventive.
Yeah.
And I think that part is going to be great. But as a larger implication for AI, man, we're going to be in the trenches. But
That's right.
I'm
ready to fight. Let's do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't rather have anyone else at my side other than folks like you, Kelsey, and those in the chat.
Ink,
so
I got my brush. Let's do it. Let's get sloppy on paper.
Totally. Let's get creative. let's show the power of human ingenuity, you know, and pedal to the metal with it. Stop thinking that the fight is already won by them, and get to it. Get out there. Right. No day like today, you know. So at the end of the day, it really is be inspired by it, and be inspired not to necessarily use it as a tool to create or something, but be inspired by it to just create. Just create. Go out there, make stuff, make it happen.
Truly exciting times, if you ask me.
Oh yeah. I see a whole other like a comic renaissance, a new golden age kind of being ushered in, and we're just at the start of it. Just at the start of it.
Yep.
You know, so some people might think like, oh, you know, it's not happening, but that'd be like saying like the first issue of Fantastic Four that ever came out, right, back in the day, and going like, yeah, that company, that ain't gonna be around.
Right. I'm sure they were. I'm sure they did have them out there. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Walt Kelly and Pogo was like, what's this trash?
Yeah, exactly. You know, so yeah. Keep fighting the good fight, everybody. All right. Thank you so much, Kelsey. Everybody, thank you guys in the chat so much for your time tonight. It was a great show. All the different kinds of opinions, too, of the chat. Really love and appreciate all of you. And thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Lizello, thank you. Says, great stream. You never disappoint, Peter, whenever I tune into your live streams. I appreciate that. Jeez. Man, oh, man. Very, very nice. Very kind. Kelsey, thank you, man. Appreciate it. I'm glad you're able to show up. We had a great conversation tonight. I'm going to put a timestamp into the the thing to just be like, that's when Kelsey gets here, and then people can tune out of the first batch of, I think, a half hour. I was
always here. I showed up on time. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Take it easy. Have a wonderful night. And again, seriously, keep fighting the good fight. Lots of good stuff to come. Just keep being creative and supporting those that you think are doing it the way you want to see it done. Everyone, have a great night.
Bye-bye.